hello, there is a webcam behind you, do not be alarmed. We are playing Dungeons & Dragons, and we are in our 78?
We started on 69, so 69.
So 73.
73. We're hour 73 of a 100-hour adventure that we've been playing for the entirety of this month of the Edinburgh Fringe. So you are coming into the story 2/3 of the way in. 3/4, nearly, somewhere in the middle. So, if at any point during the show you're sat there going, I don't know what's going on, please help me, I'm confused, I'm lost, do let us know. We are absolutely fine with sound and movement from the audience. In fact, let's have a quick test. Let's see if we've got a panto audience in today. Can I have a quick ooh from the audience? Ooh. There we go. Splendid. Thank you very much. Yes, feel free to shout out at any point. That is also for the benefit of those who would struggle to be still and silent for an hour. The lighting will stay exactly the same as it is now, and there will be some background music, but no loud noises apart from our voices in the microphones, and some of us tend to shout. I'm looking at you, Emma.
I'll sit further back.
There we go. Good. If you need to head out at any reason, for any time, there we go. There are 2 doors on your left and right over there. You are easily allowed to go out through either of those. There is a foyer space in front of you, and Sweet Company staff, they are wearing black and red t-shirts with the Sweet logo on, will be there to assist you with anything that you need, including getting back into the room as the doors are on a key fob system. If you need help in the room, our stage manager Nemo is over there. There they are. Hello, Nemo. Nemo is there in case you need any assistance in the room. Do give them a wave or catch their eye, and they will happily assist you with anything that you need. Also, it's 10:30 in the morning, so we are joined by our BSL interpreter, Isla. Isla is BSL interpreting a game that doesn't have BSL sign symbology built into it, so they are literally making up words as we go along, and also the whole thing's improvised. So it's incredibly impressive. Very proud to have her, and proud to be able to offer that to an audience that may struggle to understand what we're doing otherwise. So, what are we doing? We are playing a game of Dungeons & Dragons. Is everyone aware of what that means? We have some newbies in the room. Splendid. Good. Allow me to explain. The 4 people to my left and right play characters in a shared fantasy universe setting, and I play the shared fantasy universe setting. So I'll be everything they encounter, everything they do, everything they face. I will either voice or describe or talk through, with a collaborative storytelling experience, if you will. To make sure that we have some element of randomness to the game, make sure it isn't just us telling you whatever we fancy telling you, we use a 20-sided dice most often. A 1 is a terrible result, a 20 is brilliant. Feel free to boo or cheer depending on how you feel about the character at any given time. They also have character sheets in front of them, which allow them to add numbers to that 20-sided dice roll to make them better or worse at certain things, and they also have special abilities we'll cover as the game progresses. Now, before I get too deep into trying to explain where we're up to in the story, I think it's very best if we go around the table and introduce ourselves. So my name is Chris, I'm your Dungeon Master, and I use he, him pronouns. Could you please introduce yourself, give your pronouns, your character's pronouns, and what they look like to help everyone visualise what we're doing?
I'm G, I go by he, him. My character is Harvey, also goes by he, him, and he is an Aarakocra, which means he is a sort of bird person, looks quite like a parrot. And he also, at this point, some hours ago, was saved by the spirit of a dwarf barbarian. So that spirit is now living inside me, and so there's a bear print sort of totem on my chest, sort of burned into my feathers.
73 hours.
It looks. Yeah, that's me.
Go for it.
Hi, I'm Jamie, and I'll be playing Barksby. And he is a Furbog druid, Furbog being a bovine featured humanoid, standing about 7 or 8 foot tall. He's got a lot of moss growing on him, a big fungal arm, and a big patch of mushrooms coming off of his armor.
Yeah.
He is a he, him, and so am I. And he's just happy to be here and alive.
For now. Well, good luck.
Hello, I'm Alex. My character's name is Arted Delandor. He is he, as am I. He's also an elf, mostly paladin. He is tall, handsome, surly, and
Russian, apparently.
Very Russian.
Hi, I'm Emma. I and my character are both she, her. I'm playing Ezzy, who is a Yuan-Ti, which means she is half snake. So she has black hair and sort of an undercut, which is all purple scales, and that runs all the way down the left side of her body, is all purple scales, and she's a sorcerer.
Splendid. Thank you very much, everyone. Good. Can I have the music back in, Nemo? And let's kick off with setting the scene. Thank you. So, our... Good music, is it?
Love it.
Our party and are all members of a rebellion. This rebellion fought off an ancient evil cult, the cult to an ancient evil elder god as well. Over the last 5 years, they have enslaved the country they all live in, but the rebellion have managed to fight them back to their last beachhead in this reality, a ziggurat on top of a city on an island off the coast. The party, this group in particular, have been part of an attempt to go underneath said ziggurat to try and find a way through past the amassed cult forces that remain. That eldritch 5-dimensional dungeon, thank goodness we did yesterday, so I'm going to deal with that today, that's done. But they are now making their way through to the underground part of the ziggurat, seeing where they will come out, and if they will be able to push the cult back away from this plane of existence and end their reign. So, Ezzy, you were part of the group that yesterday made their way through said dungeon, fought their way through to the end. And ahead of you looms an ominous corridor. The rest of you joined with the rest of the party, the rest of the rebellion that were helping make their way up through this catacomb. You've made a small camp in an underground room with wet, jade-like walls, the very last room of said dungeon area. And ahead of you, you can see the beginnings of light at the end of the tunnel, implying that after you go through here, you will be outside again, and presumably near the top of the ziggurat, and near the amassed forces that you'll have to deal with. I'm going to say that the party camped here in an overnight-style way, so this is first thing in the morning. So, after yesterday's misadventures, you were given a chance to rest. After the bodies were cleared out of the way, this room was deemed to be safe enough, and other members were taken up through this strange dungeon, presumably with some rope or string to make their way through a 5-dimensional dungeon, and are now camping and waking up in the morning before what you assume may be a final assault. What is everyone doing?
How dark is it?
It is currently dimly lit in here. There are these sort of bulbous, almost like tumor-like growths on the walls that give out a glow green light. I will say that the adventuring group have put torches around the campsite area, but unfortunately, because the ground is made of stone, hammering tents in has been difficult, so it's mostly bedrolls and people hanging out.
Arted is sitting, looking towards the rising light of the outside.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's more of a dim light at the end of a tunnel. You can't
Yeah,
quite see all the
but still focusing very much on that light because he does not like the dark anymore.
He does not, that is correct. Do you want to explain why he doesn't like the dark?
He is afraid of the dark because he was cursed by an elder thing,
Correct.
which has also allowed him to become a little bit of a warlock.
And his allegiances are circumspect, to say the least. But no one else knows that. What's everyone else up to? The leaders of the rebellion, who you have not seen for some time, are down at the beachhead where people landed originally. Some of them have stayed behind, trying to manage the lands they have freed, but a few did come along to fight, although you haven't seen some of them for quite some time. So it is really just you guys in charge.
She's been in a cage. She hasn't been able to use magic for quite a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm casting Shocking Grasp, not on anything, but I just want to feel it
Okay.
quite a lot. There's like sparks flying out of my fingers.
Other members of the adventuring party who are not appearing in this adventure sort of give you a wide berth. They're not sure about you. You were trapped in the cage by the cult and left with some monsters down here. You were freed, but no one really knows who you are yet, and no one's really spoken to you about it. They're kind of keeping you at arm's length. The whole having lightning sparking out your fingers is definitely not helping that situation.
I think Harvey is getting ready, sort of preparing himself for what he reckons will probably be a bit of a battle. Being parrot like, he's got basically found like a stick and sort of is gnawing it a bit, sort of keeping the beak in good condition, you know.
So it's the equivalent of brushing your teeth in paraffin.
Yeah, I'd more go for the like looking cool with a toothpick, but it's a giant stick.
Okay.
That's how Harvey sees it.
Cool, I'm going with that. Dogsby.
Is there any mushrooms in this area?
There is nothing growing in this temple complex. There are no animals, there are no plants.
Barksby's having a conversation with his armor and the plants on it. I don't like this place. It doesn't grow a lot of things. I know it's a bit unsettling, but still, we must press forward. Maybe there's some plants upstairs we can make friends with. No, we cannot go back. We don't need to go back. We need to go forward.
Are you talking to yourself?
No, I'm talking to the fungus and moss.
You note that his entire right arm seems to have been cut off, but he has fungus and moss that has grown into an arm shape that he appears to be able to control as if it were his arm. I think that's a very fair reaction.
Yeah. And he sat there doing this.
Are you literally doing that?
No, we can't go back. No, of course. That's a good point.
Does it talk back to you?
Don't you ever talk to plants?
No, I talk to snakes.
If you're making the plants uneasy, don't like snakes.
Spark.
Arted looks at the sparky snake lady and the puppet Verborg and goes up to Harvey and says, "So I assume you're in charge."
I mean, you'd think so, but as far as I can tell, nobody around here is really in charge.
You were all given the charge to help the beachhead move forward through this temple, but at this point there's no one leading you.
Did anyone bring any food? Mice?
Someone leans around with some rations going, and then hears mice and goes, back again.
I'll take them.
Is that the hand you've been sparking with? Like, you get it. It's more, not, it doesn't want it. Just don't touch my hand. The unnamed member of the rebellion walks away.
So do we have a clear plan? Idea?
Do I know what's up ahead?
Yes, you're part of the cult. Roll a history check. Roll a 20-sided dice and add your history modifier.
It's not going to be good. That is 5.
5. Outside of this area, there are numerous exits that go off into various catacombs. You've gone through one. You know that these exits all enter out into a central plaza space, after which there is the door into the main temple, and behind that temple is the rest of the cult.
I know one way to get to where they are.
How dangerous is it?
How dangerous is it?
The door is a strange puzzle that you can't remember how to do, but you've seen them do. And there are... As last time you saw the cult up there, there were a lot more of them, but that was days ago before this invading force came.
How good are you at puzzles?
I don't know.
Yeah,
Been a while. Yeah. Not terrible, not great.
Okay.
It is not my forte.
No, mine either.
I mean,
My hand's pretty good at them.
Then I think it is the best option.
Would you
Let's
all
have
like
a
to
look.
move forward?
Yes.
yes.
Are you all doing so stealthily or just marching straight down this corridor?
Stealthily.
I will
Stealthily?
attempt to stealth
There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not bad.
in my heavy armor.
Do I think it will be advantageous?
If there's lots of cultists there and these guys are the rebellion, probably.
I'm basically stealthing because everybody else seems to be.
Oh boy.
Monkey see,
7.
monkey do.
7.
I win. 3.
3.
13.
13.
18.
18. Largely out of 20. 3 is terrible. Good. Right. You 4 make your way down the corridor. The rest of the forces staying behind to hold this area in case you need to fall back. And making sure you can check out what's up ahead. You walk down this corridor. The walls still seem rather wet, and this green jade-like quality and this strange green light pulsing out of various bulbous things on the wall is the normality here. As you walk down this corridor, trying to be relatively stealthy, but realizing very quickly that this is not your forte, you arrive at the end of the corridor and peer out. You are looking out over a wide courtyard, over 100 feet wide. The ground is littered with bones. Looking through them, they appear to be incredibly old, dusty, decayed. You can't tell if this is some sort of slaughter or just a place where bones were kept, or why they would be in the central courtyard space. Because as you look ahead of you, there are houses around, and again, this strange non-Euclidean feature of this island continues. There are some houses that appear to warp and look like they're almost off at an angle, but as you look at them, the sky around them appears to still be relatively normal. There are stairs that look like they're flat into the ground. There's a strange sense that this island is not exactly here, and not exactly correct in this physical set. Over these skeletons and around this area are a number of creatures. You can see cultists. You can see some of the grue, these rather horrible, small dog-like creatures with tufty fur and very sharp implements. And there are also larger versions of those. You've seen manglers before, which tend to have more arms. Hulks, which tend to be quite a lot larger. And there are also some of the creatures that you saw yesterday you had to deal with, which seem to be various strange perversions on humanoid form around. As you step out of this corridor space and look out, can you all roll a d20, please? Because none of you are stealthing particularly well.
I thought I was doing okay.
13.
13?
14.
14?
15.
15?
9.
9! As you step out, Buxby, I think it's fair to say your reaction to this many enemies in this much space who don't tend to ask questions first makes you give a little moo. At which point, two things happen. First of all, quite a few of the ones near you turn and look at you. And there is a genuine sense of surprise of how did they get up here? Oh goodness, scrambled back. At the same time, from the beachhead where the rebellion was starting their assault, there is a loud explosion. This loud explosion is clearly magic being set off, and you can see that the rebellion is attacking at dawn. And as they attack, these cultists around you are torn between whether to go forward, to attack, to deal with you, or to retreat. What would you all like to do before we roll initiative?
I would like to cast Armor.
You all have one action before we roll initiative, so take it.
I would like to cast Armor of Agathis on myself.
Describe how that works and what it looks like.
I take out my water skin and I pour it over my arms, and as I do so, it kind of encrusts into an ice armor that sits all over the top of my body.
Splendid. Ezzy?
Is the one that looks to be in charge?
You can make a perception check as your action before we roll initiative, yes.
As my action.
As your action.
Okay, I'm going to choose one at random.
You can choose one at random.
Yeah, and I'm going to cast suggestion.
Suggestion on one cultist at random.
Yeah.
Cool, we'll roll for that.
I think I'm going to cast spiritual weapon.
And what is your spiritual... How do you cast it and what happens?
I sort of make I clasp my fists together, and they glow green, and sort of wisps of smoke, green smoke, come out of my fists and coalesce into a big hammer.
A big hammer.
Yeah, like it's like 10 feet length, kind of.
It's like a
massive.
maul.
Yeah.
Okay, lovely. Bugsby?
I would like to be shaped into a brown bear.
You beast shape. Describe how your beast shape works.
So all around Barksby, tendrils of vines and spores appear. and you wrap him into a cocoon, and then he falls down on all fours into a bear.
And breaks out of the cocoon in bear form.
Yeah.
So a snarling bear, a man covered in ice crystals, someone about to cast suggestion, and and a man and a bird with a hammer are now floating before these cultists. Some of them stand firm.
Wait, I haven't done my thing yet.
Well, no, it hasn't happened yet. We're preparing to do it, remember?
Everyone else just did theirs.
No. I'm seeing who's still there. Don't want you to cast on someone who then runs away. It seems pointless, doesn't it?
Okay.
So, at which point, quite a few of them back off. A large part of them on the other side of this square are clearly preparing themselves to move down to deal with the assault, but you do have quite a few people turning towards you to deal with you. Roll your suggestion spell.
Can I tell you what I'm going to do first?
Yes.
Okay. I lock eyes with whichever one of the cultists I'm going to suggest.
Roll
to.
a random. Can you roll a D100, please? 70.
Yeah.
You target in front of you. There is a cultist with slightly more ostentatious robes who might be in charge. You're smart enough to go that one.
Okay. I look him directly in the eye, cast suggestion.
Mm-hmm.
You go to the beach, I'll handle these ones, and turn towards these three.
Okay.
Aggressively.
He rolled a d20 and rolled a 20 on it, so that's cool. Don't worry. Thank you. Cheers. He rolled 20, so no effect, I'm afraid. The cultist looks at you strangely. You are still wearing the robes you had when you were part of the cult, so you are still clearly part of them, but also with them. And the spell washes over, and he realizes that you're trying to cast a spell on him, and sidles up and makes sure that he's ready to deal with you as well. Can we all roll initiative, please? Can we have some more battle-y music, please? Nemo.
Oh, that is not bad.
Lovely. So roll your 20-sided dice, add your dexterity modifier, and let's see what happens.
It's not the worst.
Right, anyone above a 20? Anyone above a 15? 16? 17.
An 80s battle. I like it.
An 80s video game battle. This is what's happening. Well, it's not too battle-y yet. We'll see how it goes. Anyone above a above a 10, sorry. Wow. Below 10? 7.
3.
7 and 3.
Yes. I want to say it's when I cast
Yes,
spiritual weapon, I get an attack with the cast.
that's true. Who are you going to attack with?
I think Can I roll perception to see if I've blocked what? So what's your character?
Ezzy.
See if I've blocked that she's going for a specific person.
Yeah, push it.
14.
Yeah, you've seen that she targeted a person with a spell and appears to have turned towards you guys aggressively.
Yeah, cool. I attack that guy.
Okay, you fly out and strike out with the boot. Make an attack roll with the boot, please.
The hammer.
Hammer, sorry, with the hammer.
Make a release.
Yes.
What's that? 13.
13 does not hit as far as I'm aware. Yep, the hammer flies out. Just checking that. Oh, 13 does hit. 13 is just on the line. It does hit.
Okay.
If we had 8.
Oh, is
Efficiency will
that?
have gone up.
Oh, okay. No, that was not interesting. It's 15 then.
Yeah, definitely hits.
Cool.
So yes, strike out at the cult fanatic. A CR2 enemy.
That's a 10.
What is the damage?
Where's your D8?
You need a D8.
Thanks. So, 13.
13 points of damage as your hammer strikes out and knocks this cultist asunder, who frankly is not that important. But it's good that someone has been knocked him asunder and done him considerable damage as a start. As he falls to the floor, he scrabbles back. Mostly you have these Gru around you more than anything else. The few cultists that are there are scrabbling back out of the way as these Gru are moving forward around this guy trying to deal with it. As they go, he leans back and casts a spell. Harvey, can you please make a wisdom saving throw? Yes, please.
Wow.
Aha. Oh dear. No, you managed to avoid it. It has a DC of 11. A hold person spell washes over you, trying to hold you in place, but you manage to hold your own. And this cultist is just running from you now. You guys are clearly outclassing them pretty strongly. Arte, what would you like to do?
Do I see anything big and like chunky and scary looking coming towards me?
Of the Gru that are approaching you, quite a few of them are the little skittering ones. There are some of the mangler ones, which are a bit larger, and in the back, quite a way away from you, about 60 feet away from you towards the centre of the square, is a gigantic one. It is about the size of 3 or 4 people stood on top of each other, and it is both very large and very, very spiky. However, this one, as you look at it, appears to have a strange thing about it that you can't quite work out. Something in your head reverberates back, possibly in connection to your new warlock abilities, possibly that you should be using this in some way that you haven't quite grasped yet.
Okay. There's a lot of information.
Yes, there is.
I am going to attempt from my distance to reach out into its mind and cast Crown of Madness.
Interesting.
I must succeed on a wisdom saving throw. 15 is my DC.
Nope, that's a 10.
Wonderful. The target is charmed.
Okay.
A twisted crown of jagged iron appears on its head and madness glows in its eyes.
Excellent.
Must use its attack before moving to make a melee attack against any creature other than itself that I mentally choose. So as I reach out, I say to it, "Thin the herd."
Splendid. And as you do, this gigantic creature turns and looks around and and as it does, it blinks and the crown vanishes. Can't be charmed. And seeing you and hearing in its head, it looks at you strangely as if you are an ally and it doesn't quite understand. And then starts stomping towards you. It doesn't reach you on this turn. Around you, the smaller creatures and are now surrounding all of you and running forward, leaping to attack. They will all be trying to attack all of you. Ezzy, what is your current armor class? 13. 7, 13, and 12, so one will get through.
Do they look big?
I know, they're small and dog-like.
Fine.
One reaches up and leaps at you, and as it does, it bites deep into your flank. That is also another word for your hip and or thigh area. You take... Learning. You take 7 points of damage and must make a wisdom saving throw.
Is this a magical effect?
It is indeed a magical effect.
Oh, thank goodness for that. That is... What
Wisdom.
16.
16, you're fine. Arte.
Yes.
10, an 11, and a 16.
Nope.
All three bump into you and try and attack you, but so far are having no effect against you. Armor of Agnes is only if it actually attacks you and hits, isn't it? And if you take damage.
If it hits me, yes.
Yeah, to take damage. So they just bounce off you in your gigantic armor, and you're just there, ready for them. Harvey. 7, 6, and an 18.
18, right?
18 will hit. Make a wisdom saving throw, please, as you take 8 points of damage.
17.
You're also not affected by this, as these 3 dog-like creatures are surrounding you and snapping and biting, and their jaws and their things lashing out at you.